There's an entire type of game that I think lends itself poorly to reviews. And I do mean type and not genre. Because what is a review if not giving a game your full attention, then coming out the other side to share your opinion? And where does that leave games that flourish when not given your full attention? Podcast games, audiobook games, whatever you want to call them, you know what I mean. The ones that rely on predictable repetition that are best experienced with something happening on your second monitor. Enter Lumencraft, a roguelite base builder / tower defender that I spent about 12 hours with this week now that it's out of early access. And as I'm scrubbing through my hours of collected footage, I'm not exactly surprised to see how much of that time was literally just grinding through the same two materials indefinitely. But I am surprised at how enthralled I was by it. Because Lumencraft is a slow burn, and you need to know that going in. Its campaign is really just an on-ramp to get you comfortable with all the different tools, with each level being a showcase of one turret or another, interspersed with more explicit challenge levels that act as knowledge checkpoints to make sure you are paying attention. While within a given level, your time is split between mining minerals and general base preparedness, as well as a more explicit phase with waves of enemy mobs that will push your base to the limit. Why I say this is a podcast game is because of how that split is proportioned. This is not 50-50, it's really more like 80-20 in most scenarios, and that means you're going to spend a lot of time drilling. Which is not to say that that was a mistake, or even that said drilling is unsatisfying. It's the opposite, actually. Because deep within the crust of this hostile alien planet, you're relying on industrial mining equipment to get the resources you need. Mechanical, explosive, or otherwise, the tools are satisfying and carve through the earth with style. The reliable drill crunches as it hits metal and gems. There's an indie grunginess to the game's look and feel that I think weirdly fits with the harsh labor in a harsher environment. A souped-up Newgrounds Flash game is the right tier to both classify Lumencraft's level of production and its intentionally narrow scope. All of its aspects are very simple, or at least built up from simple components. There's only 2 collectible materials in the entire game that fuel all of your production. Metal, which is used as your conventional building resource for turrets and gates, and lumens, which are your more abstract building resource for character and hub upgrades. Everything else is just an obstacle to be cut through, crust of different hardness levels that demand drill upgrades, and lava that fills whatever container it's given. But the lower intensity of your gathering phase doesn't equate to no intensity, because enemies are still on the prowl. You can inadvertently stumble across a layer and trigger a mini wave, and there's also the ever-present consideration of the fact that by drilling through the world, you're also drilling new paths for yourself and your enemies. If you've seen anyone compare this game to Deep Rock Galactic, this is what they're talking about. The fact that the strategic opportunities multiply considerably when you have full control of the literal layout of the world. This goes double in a wave-based tower defense where enemies follow intentionally rigid paths, giving you the opportunity to funnel them towards a turret bottleneck that's effectively an insect meat grinder. It's really fun, if a bit simple until you've gotten all your campaign unlocks. But unlocks or not, the broad strokes of your objectives are the same. Wall off the access point to your central reactor, daisy chain power supplies to all of your defenses, and every second you're not doing the above should be gathering the materials that fuel those actions, or fighting off the enemies that try to prevent them. But that simplicity can be a valuable asset, because there are definitely games out there like Lumencraft, but few that are as intuitive. The narrow selection of towers and buildings might be off-putting to genre vets, especially the drip-feed frequency at which the campaign doles them out to you, but they're perfect for someone looking to break into the genre, or even just someone who wants to shut their brain off for a while. What its explicit tower-defending components lack in complexity, the malleability of its world compensates for, allowing for the ability to redirect incoming horde flow as its own distinct game mechanic. For co-op enthusiasts, it's worth calling out that this game does support 2 players, though sadly it's local only with the online support relying on Steam's remote play framework. But I found that the lack of a buddy at your side can be offset by some complementary material instead. I mean no offense when I say that Lumencraft is a great podcast game, because it is. The enjoyment it delivers is both from its tower defense strategy, but perhaps just as much from the simple catharsis of its collecting, and I think that's something to embrace wholeheartedly.